Hello, hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good day. Welcome in. Thank you for stopping by. Um, Today, I want to talk about a movie that is dear to my heart. I have always loved this movie since I was a kid. It's one of my favorites, and I never really understood why until recently with my most recent watch through. I realized that this movie perfectly encapsulates the feeling of being disabled and how it feels to be held back by something that you have. And this movie is Jack and the Cuckoo Clock Heart. um, this is a French animation movie. Uh, so I kind of just want to go through the movie and just talk about it with you guys. I'm gonna major spoilers ahead. So I suggest if you have not seen this movie to please go watch it. This is my personal analysis and personal feelings. I have no qualifications. I just like this movie and think that it has a lot of impact on me and the way that I see the world. And so here we are. Okay. So the movie, it opens with literally the most captivating sequence of setting up this exposition of hey, it's cold. And it's it has beautiful music. This has music in it. I'm sorry. It has beautiful music. The music, the ice cracking, and then bang, a bird hits the camera, and you start hearing a cuckoo clock heart, which is just so interesting. I think that's cool from a film standpoint. I have a lot of background in I have a background in film and media, and theater and stuff like that. So I've always been very captivated by the way people set things up for visuals. And this start is so good. You're literally 30 seconds in and you're hooked on the movie. Through my favorite storytelling mechanic, Jack explains yet again that it is cold in a song, obviously. Obviously. Look at me. You think I don't love musicals? Um, a pregnant woman makes her way to a house on a hill and is greeted by probably my favorite rendition of a midwife. She offers the pregnant woman whiskey, but and shakes a baby in 30 seconds. But she is actually the sweetest person, and that makes me sad that it comes when it comes to my review. Anywho, she determines that Jack has a frozen heart, and she decides she's gonna use a cuckoo clock heart. Like, weird flex, but okay. To replace it. She uses a blowtorch. It's so funny watching through this movie. It's just this first sequence is just literally so captivating. Wrote so much about this. Um, I'm reading off a script. I'm sorry. I don't remember things well enough to not. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm adding a little bit of embellishment though because I don't agree with all of the writing techniques of this. Um, She then uses distilled tears, iconic, to put the baby to sleep for the procedure. After the procedure, she gives the baby back to his mother, who seems hesitant. The midwife explains the rules to Jack as he's asleep, but like, okay. And those three rules are: never touch the hands of your clock, keep your temper under control, and never fall in love. There's like a whole thing. I think I'm going to insert that here of her singing that part of what happens when if he does because she does actually like tell us what happens if he falls in love. um
Firstly, never touch the hands of your heart. Rule number 2, keep your temper under control. Last but not least, the most important rule: whatever else you do, never fall in love. 'Cause then, forevermore, if your heart goes in a spin, the big hand at your core will pop out of your skin. Your bones will implode, your cogs and springs explode, and your cuckoo clock heart grind to a halt for good.
and so from the start, his heart is very finicky and it seems unstable. But I think that's realistic. I'm going to get through the whole baby sequence and then I'm going to tell you what I feel about this part. Jack's biological mother leaves Jack with the midwife, stating that she'll make a better mother than me. Okay, so as a baby, let's rewind in the lens of a disability, because that's what he is. He is not able-bodied. He's disabled. This woman, who you can infer is having a baby out of wedlock, which in the time period that this movie is set probably isn't very good. And even now, like to this day, when people have disabled children, it is very common for them to give them up. And because people just don't think that they're equipped. And while I think that that is like, yes, please, if you do not feel like you're equipped, step away. Like, do not do that. I also feel like if you're planning on having a kid, you should plan on having of the possibility of having a disabled kid. And I think that this kind of shows in like that like light, I guess. And I really like this like opening part where he's a baby, because it sets up the fact that he has to follow these rules. He has to follow this regimen for the rest of his life because of his heart. And I have a nephew who has a heart condition and went through a lot of surgeries as a kid, and like that's so serious, that's so real from a young age. I also have a bunch of other disabled friends, because I am disabled myself, of people who were disabled from childhood. And even, I mean, people who get disabled in their adult life, as soon as you become disabled, you have to follow the rules that are set by your body. And it's just I think this movie really encapsulates that. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna just keep rambling. All right, so this movie is leaving a lot up to the imagination, but you can infer a lot about the type of people you see around the midwife in the next scene. We can see a man with a spine made of a xylophone and two pregnant women, one with a leg of metal, and it seems the women are some kind of sex worker, and the man with the xylophone spine explains he is divorced and jobless. So these people are the rejects of society in a term. I guess othered in society because like the man is um obviously going through a rough patch, and you can tell that, and it's especially obvious with his disability, which is his spine, which he needs oiled very often. Um, Something that the midwife, who is also, I guess, a doctor, um, also did. So it's inferred that she put the xylophone in his back, and made the other woman's leg metal. Um, it's unclear about the third woman. I don't remember at the moment if the third woman has something. If you know, go ahead and write it in the comments. I don't remember right now. I'm sorry. Um, it seems like the witch midwife is taking in people who are of lower class or lower ranking in society, or like down on their luck. Like last place people go, but she's very warm. Um, with that, I tend to believe that Jack's mother is either having a child out of wedlock, without a father, or would probably be raising a disabled kid alone in what seems to be Victorian Scotland. This first sequence, I believe, helps destigmatize these really heavy topics. Never once is she bashed in the movie for her decision, and it's actually seen as what's best for Jack from every angle. It also sets up Jack's rules, which is a very crucial part of the story arc, and the topic of disabled kids slash adults, and how these things that are keeping you alive can make you feel caged and held back from enjoying uh, things like your peers. In Jack's adolescence, and he is 10 years old at this point, um, the midwife, his new mother, Madeline, I put in quotations, finally remembered her name. It's probably because they finally said it in the movie. But she is Madeline. Um, is working on a patient, and the man with the xylophone for a spine, and Jack asks her to go to town. It takes her literally 5 minutes to perform 2 abortions, and I'm scared of her power, I'm gonna be honest. LOL, why did I put am I turned on? Me not remembering why I wrote this. Jack gets an egg, and it's actually very sweet. Henry, xylophone spine guy, gives it to him because it's always nice to have a little warmth in your pocket. And it has a smiley face on it. When Madeline gets back, she decides for the first time to bring Jack to town. But before she can, she tells Jack the 3 rules and tries to explain that they are very serious. He reacts like a 10-year-old would and listens, but doesn't absorb the information. They go to town, and Jack meets a girl and immediately falls in love. You literally get told, hey, you have these 3 rules. Don't touch your clock. Don't get mad. Don't fall in love. And the first thing you do, especially because Madeline, right before they go to town, is like, this is the most important rule, and I need you to remember that. And he's just like, la-di-da-di-da. Oh, this pretty girl. I'm now in love. Jack. But first, this is true. So the first time I showed my boyfriend this movie, I said, hey, you want to see a child break a rule in record time? Because it literally is like 30 seconds in. Like, not a minute later, this boy is singing with a little girl in town square. It's my favorite song. I love this song. At the end of the song, Jack passes out right as he was about to kiss the girl, and Madeline finds them and tells this little girl off. Like, she didn't know, so I don't understand why she's telling off this little girl, but like, go off, Madeline. The little boy This little boy came out of nowhere and told her he loves her for her flaws. Like, ma'am, I'd be cooked too. That's what I wrote. My God. Which is true. I mean, like, honestly, like, not a little boy, obviously, but, like, if someone my age, because they're the same age in this movie, but, like, if someone my age, at any age, came up to me and was just like, I love you for all your flaws, immediately cooked. Immediately cooked, okay? The second part starts with Jack trying to go to school to meet this little girl, to, like, go to the same school that this little girl went to. He convinces Madeline, and from day fucking one, this asshole Joe just is a horrible fucking person. Just a horrible fucking person. The whole school. The whole school sucks. But Joe is a specific kind of fucked up that I cannot goddamn stand, okay? I cannot stand Joe. Anyways, Joe tells our dear Jack that the girl he met is Miss Acacia and she was deported. Um, I'm not gonna go into how this movie goes into a lot of different things, and it's quite beautiful. Um, because there's a lot of stuff that this movie goes through that I think are really like heavy subjects. Why I was watching this as a kid, I don't know, but I loved this movie and I still love this movie. Anyways, she was deported. Jack then goes through years of torment and he loses literally all the items and animals that have become his friend. So, on his like 11th or 12th birthday, he gets a hamster. Literally a year later, it's dead. It's like, and it's because of the kids at the school. And the egg gets smashed on his head. Like, these kids are so ruthless to this little boy. Um, he is isolated. And one day, on Jack's 14th birthday, Joe gets a birthday card from Miss Acacia, which shows where she is. And Jack finds his card and rips it, which causes Joe to full on a fucking assault him. Like, literally assault him. And try to kill him by messing with his heart. Which, like, come on, murderous intent, Joe? Really? Anyways. But this leads to Jack breaking the rule of keeping his control of his anger, which his cuckoo clock then stabs the eye out of Joe, and Jack, like, flees, right? Jack runs to Madeline and his family, which I'm calling them his family because it's her usual customers, which they've kind of become a family. They smuggle him out of the city on a train. Oh my gosh. These people, they smuggle him out of the city with Madeline staying back to like hold back the cops to like distract them. So the other three put him on a train and tell him, because his heart's broken, because they don't have time to fix it, since his heart is broken because Joe fucking broke it, fucking attempted murder, what the fuck, Jack, he gets told to go look for like a clockmaker instead of a doctor, because the doctor would not know what to do with his heart. Jack fully believes he killed Joe, which we'll get back to that, but he like full-heartedly believes that he killed Joe. When Jack gets onto the train, we meet. Okay, first, this portion, his childhood. It is very, very common for kids, especially. Not even especially. It's very common for disabled people to get bullied in school. And honestly, in the workforce too. It's just not talked about as widely, but it's very common for disabled kids to get made fun of or bullied or harassed or whatever. And I think that this movie really encapsulates that. Like, the reason they're doing it is because he's different. It really does just beautifully explain how it feels to be disabled at like every age. Um and he at that at during his like childhood is like hiding it from his parent, like his mom, to stay in school because he doesn't want to like be proven wrong. And it's just so sad. It's so sad to watch this first part as he was so just like wide-eyed and loving life, and he slowly like descends into just sadness until all he has left is this hope that he'll see Miss Acacia again. Anyways, on the train we meet two of my favorite characters. Two. These The first one is Jack the Ripper, which we don't technically meet him in this scene. He is technically before that. Jack the Ripper comes beforehand in the scene where he meets Miss Acacia at in town square. He is seen in the background skulking, kind of like stalking Jack. Why? This movie is a wonderful movie. However, it has some things that I don't know. Because you never see Jack the Ripper again either. I have no clue why the fuck this man was here. There was literally no reason. It was just like, we need to make Jack scared more. And it was like, what? Because he hunts him on the train until our dear clockworker walks in. His name is George. And he walks in waving a camera in Jack's face. In his own words, George is a magician who's on the verge of a nervous breakdown. He helps fix Jack at his workshop in Paris. He also gives Jack the advice that he must live his life and cannot continue to let his heart control his heart. Jack decides to find Miss Acacia because he has half of that postcard that they got, that Joe had gotten for his birthday. And so he just goes and tries to find her. The one he met once. Me too, man. That's what it says in this. And invites George to come along with him. George agrees because he's like, I don't have anything else to do. I'm on the verge of a nervous breakdown. And so he goes. And there's this sequence where it kind of like, it's just a song, but it's like really cute. And I think it's just a lot of exposition. It doesn't really add much, but it's very cute. He arrives at Andalusia, which is a carnival in the desert of Spain. And Miss Acacia performs there. They arrive just in time for her performance, actually. After her performance, he sneaks into her room at the suggestion of George, and this works, which is so creepy. I'm sorry, my boy, baby boy, I need you to stop. I need you to not just creep in somebody's room. Maybe, I don't know, talk to her after the show. Like, not in her room, my guy. She actually calls him out. She's like, do you usually find yourselves in women's changing rooms? Which, good on her, I'm just saying. Jack gives Miss Acacia a bouquet of broken glasses because in their song in the park, it talks about how she doesn't have very good vision, and but she won't wear her glasses. Um, and so he gets her a bunch of broken glasses, and he says something along the lines of, just because I don't want you to worry about breaking them. And it's like super cute, actually. Um, and she thinks that that's super cute and is like, hey, I'm gonna come visit you at your job at the ghost train, where he says he works, which he did not work. He got asked to work there, and he said, let me think about it, and runs away. And he runs back, and she's like, yeah, sure, I need somebody. um and so he does work at the ghost train eventually. While he's in her tent, I think that this is a really good scene of showing how words and warnings of being chronically ill can linger and cause you to hold yourself back. So, while he's walking through, he's hearing Madeline's voice in the background, um, while he's wandering her tent, trying to like build up the courage to talk to her. He hears Madeline talk about how he should not fall in love, how he should not be doing this. And it's very sad, but I think it's really cool. Um, their date is cute, uneventful. It's mostly to establish and like build their relationship, which is super cute. But like, go watch it yourself if you want to see it. Um, rain. So on their first meeting, it was raining, and so rain starts to bring back the memory to her and to him, and they almost kiss, and she goes, sorry, I'm in love with somebody else, because she doesn't have glasses and she doesn't recognize him. um he doesn't ask who, he just assumes it's Joe. And then after George points that out, they go on like another like friend date and like go on a walk, and she's like, hey, I'm in love with you. Not like actually, she's like, I'm in love with this like boy I met once in Edinburgh, where I met, I don't know, it's interesting, who I might like, basically she's like, who I might have killed, because like he like passed out the last time she saw him. I don't understand, whatever. But she's like, I'm in love with him. And he like sulks, and he's like, he goes to George and he's like, she's in love with me. And George is like, why is that a bad thing? He's like, she doesn't remember who I am. And it's like, oh, I see. And it's because of her own like not being able to see. So what he does is he creates a play to show their first meeting, and she remembers and realizes it's him, and he's like, hey, let's run away together. And she's like, okay, bet. And then he gives her the key to his heart, which is so cute. It's so cute. Then Joe shows up. Fucking asshole. I can't fucking stand Joe. Joe is such a fucking dick. So Joe comes and tells Miss Acosta a slanted tale of what happened to him, and says like Jack is aggressive and all this stuff. And and he also tells her what would happen to Jack if they fell in love. And she runs out and tells Jack that she will not be a murderess. She There's like this little sequence where Jack and Joe are going back and forth, and Jack goes to swing on Joe, which valid, honestly. And Joe proves that, like, uses that to prove, like, look, he's so aggressive. Oh my gosh. And so Miss Acacia leaves with him, which prompts Jack to rip out his own heart, which, valid. Honestly, no, I get it. Yeah, I get it. He gets put on a train back to Edinburgh to Madeline. Um, and they do this weird Romeo and Juliet thing where they pass each other, Miss Acacia and Jack, because Miss Acacia has to like stops her carriage because she's like, I need to give back the key to Jack's heart so he doesn't die. And he runs back to tell Jack also because Madeline died in prison shortly after Jack was taken from a broken heart. And so Miss Acacia runs back to Jack, and Jack is on a carriage going the other way. So they do this like weird like back like miss each other thing. When she gets back to like the carnival, George has fallen in love. All right. And so he is happily still at the carnival. When Miss Acacia gets there, he's like, Jack's gone. And she's like, I need to give him his key. And he was like, here. George was like taking notes on Jack for like fixing him. And he was like, here, take my notes on Jack. This will help you get to know him a little better. And so she reads the notes and realizes that Joe was wrong about him. When Jack gets home, he learns that Madeline is dead. And he waits at Madeline's grave. And Miss Acacia then like comes up to meet him because she gets on the second train because she just barely misses the train that he's on. She hands the key back to Jack. Jack grabs the key, throws it, and is like, will you kiss me now? It's now in my hands, not your hands. Whatever happens to me is what happens to me. And so they kiss, and mega spoiler alert for the end of the movie. He dies. He dies from it, and the last scene is him climbing. Probably, I think the imagery is like up to heaven. Is him climbing to the afterlife. Okay, so this is the whole adult life, which was just him. Okay, this movie brings me so many good feelings. As a chronically ill person, this movie resonates with me. One thing about this movie is Jack never overcomes his illness. Like, it never goes away. He just doesn't let it stop him from getting what he wants. No matter the consequence, no matter what happens to him, he decides that he's going to do it. And I think that's very realistic of being disabled. Is it doesn't go away. It's so impactful that he's willing to do that. And like, don't get me wrong, if you are in real life and something like that, like you have like a rule and it keeps you alive, please keep doing it. Don't die. But I'm just saying, it's just so interesting. In this movie, it is an amazing way to show how chronic illness feels holding you back from living life just as a normal person. He had very real consequences every time he went against the three rules. Whether it's small or big, the consequences were there. But they stopped him from experiencing life within the bounds of what he believed what life meant. He gave his life to live one moment as a normal person. And honestly, I don't know how. Ooh, honestly, I don't know one chronically ill person who wouldn't. I am nowhere near qualified enough to do this movie justice, so please go watch it yourself. It is a fantastic movie, and I really just wanted to share it with people. Thank you for watching.